How's it going, everybody? I'm Kyle from Fantasy Forge Studios, and we are back with the Adventures of Eclaas and the Everlast role-playing game. And we are joined, technically, by all of our players. Dane is here in spirit. He's here in the chat. He is off watching some people in the mountains, some dogs in the mountains, and so he doesn't have his full setup. But he is here, and if he needs to roll, he's there in chat. So, but we are joined by everybody, so if we're going to go ahead and have each one of you introduce yourselves, starting with Max.
Hello, I'm Max. I play the illustrious Zill. I don't think anyone has ever called him illustrious or ever will.
I would say.
Let's go back to the onsen where he turned it black.
That's impressive.
Yes, Zill, who is the orphan of Helix. Waffle House, because of his pet house waffle, blacksmith extraordinaire, the future refinum prospector, and the teapot of madness. I think that's all of them. I didn't even check my notes this time. Hey, that was all of them. Nice.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, he apparently collects nicknames. That kind of happened accidentally, but he is the party tank. He gets hit a lot. It's really fun trying to tell Cole how to be prepared if I'm not going to be here. I'm like, put Zill in the way. You're playing him at 80% efficiency if you just put him in the way.
This is true.
So he gets hit a lot, but he also likes to make things. And he has no social graces, which somehow helped us with Aldride.
Well, and also, too, he's got no social graces, except for when it comes to dealing with hood rats down in the underbelly of society.
Hood rats and craftsmen.
Going back to the speaking with Rolo Beaumont's down in negotiations.
Oh my goodness.
I love it. Cool.
That's all we got.
That's Zill. Our next character is Luxalia.
Hello. I'm now unmuted. Hi, I'm Nifty Gauss. And only the people who know, you know. And
you know.
Yeah, and I will be playing Luxalia today. She is pretty nifty, insofar as she uses gauze sometimes because she's the healer, and makes sure people don't die, like Belbin when he gets overzealous and tries to punch too many things, or Zill
doesn't do that
because he just gets in the way. And
That's what I'm good at.
yeah, she prays a lot because she's a shrine maiden of Amaterasu, who is one of the kami of the Golden Sands area in Glyvenville, USA. Sorry, Glyvenville, Everlast. And that's about it. She likes light.
She does.
So
She
cool.
just got a brand new light staff.
Yeah,
Which is cool.
it's pretty light.
Yeah. It's made out of bamboo, so it's kind of hollow, but you know.
Some might say it's lit.
Oh,
Jeez. I'm expecting that joke to come up again. Great. Is that it? Is that Luxalia for us? Awesome. Our next
Indeed.
character is Yuki. So Yuki is, hey, I'll just read. Yuki is a bard from the far northern Draken city of Fulmongoluth. With a naturally shy demeanor, she finds it hard to open up to strangers, though she feels a sharp sense of responsibility towards those she loves, often leaving her as the voice of motherly reason for the party. She defends her loved ones with her life, and she also is a blade dancer. She uses swords to whack the heck out of things, and yeah, she's a Draken, which that's like a dragon person with silver scales, and yeah, she's pretty cool. She has been in a lot of adventures as of late. Her and Zill have been doing their stuff together.
It's always scary when we have the Yuki Zill show.
The Yuki Zill combo. But no, she is going on her own journey here. I think Fulden Rock is the place that she found religion for really the first time. So we'll see how that plays out. Probably less so today, but Dane will be here rolling if rules need to happen for Yuki, but yeah, he'll be available in the chat. So our next character is Belbin.
Belbin. Hi guys, I'm Connor. I play Belbin. Been absent recently, so I'm excited to be back. But Belbin he's a Glyvin. He is a DPS character. He's the old man of the group. Zill, well, Max found out last time that he is wealthy and he's miserable. So there's a life lesson somewhere in there. But yeah, he just goes around. He doesn't really, I don't always have control of him. Sometimes it's just leave it up to the rolls, and most of the time he doesn't do well. So yeah, we'll see if he decides to stay with us much longer. Yeah.
Yeah, these next few sessions I think are gonna be kind of determinantal in that. But yes, Belbin is. We're very happy to have you back, Connor, for this, especially as we begin kind of this next part of the adventure, leaving Fulden Rock and the kind of pseudo celebrity that Belbin became there as a bullying expert. But yeah, it's very happy to have you back. So welcome back. And our last character, which at this point is kind of a DMPC, is Thordane. He is an elf from the Woodland Realm, from Vrasuk Hall, and he is a ranger. And so he is really good when it comes to specifically like traveling and that kind of stuff. I mean, he's the captain of the ship. He's the captain of Alamnia's Breath, and so he is also WrestleMania extraordinaire. He's won the past 2 wrestling competitions somehow, and even who was it? Was Zill the one who beat Nalathir in the?
Yeah.
Okay, so he hasn't come across Nalathir yet, so better watch out with that one. But yeah, so Thordane is just doing Thordane stuff. He used to have a sword that would speak to him. Now Belbin's got that.
Belbin's got it, baby.
The trifecta of pain, and then
Alamnia, help us all.
And yeah, now Thordane is a man of science. He likes to study things. He's quite intelligent, and he likes to observe things. Observational. There you go. That's a word.
Observant.
There you go. Observant. Thank you. And
Gotcha.
yeah, that's Thordane. He assesses. He basically is kind of an assist support character, so he can shoot things with his bow from a distance, and he also is pretty good when it comes to helping with kind of some heals and travel stuff. So yeah, that's what he does. I am Kyle. I am the Fate Weaver. I'm playing both with and against these players as they forge their name in the world of Everlast, especially as they go in the Inland Strait here, in the Great Sea of Everlast, trying to take down archdemons and save the world from undead pirates, from live pirates that are potentially possessed by demons and things like that. So
Things be wild.
great sea
Question
monsters and everything.
For the group, can we come up with a really cool intro every time we meet new people? Kind of like I'm thinking like Team Rocket.
We're blasting up. Oh wait, that's our outro.
Yeah.
To protect the world from devastation. Everyone has to have their own part.
You can.
I am Zill.
Belbin's mouth.
Melvin, that's right.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff.
We'll
but,
work on it.
We'll
Yeah.
work on it. Maybe that's what today's session will be: is figuring out catchphrases for the party. What else do you do when you're just sailing on a ship?
include
in the
that as a
open blue?
Kickstarter tier.
There you go.
Yeah, determine the name of. Oh my gosh. Or determine a set of promo cards that are coming out with a theme. Team Rocket, Eclaas. I love it. But yes, and so where was I? Oh, yes, I am the Fate Weaver. Also the creator of this game. So really quickly before we dive into anything, Fantasy Forge Studios and Kyle LaFonte own all copyrights in the text, images, video, audio, graphics, story, intellectual properties, and pretty much game mechanics, everything involved in the creation of the game. If you feel free to use it for your own homebrew stuff, we want you to play in this world of Everlast. We want you to get comfortable with this world of Everlast, especially before the official release of the Tabletop RPG. But don't take it and sell for yourself. And also, speaking of which, just a really quick plug. I am stupid, and I forgot to put it onto my stream deck. But if you go to YouTube, if you go to our page, we have our official Kickstarter launch video. And so we have that, which is really, really exciting. Our Kickstarter launches on Monday for the Everlast trading card game. And it's the first two sets are the Heroes of the West and the Raising of Helix. So the conflict that takes place in the region of New Aldrolican and the Kingdom of Helix between the Orcs of Nazargod and the Kingdom of Helix. And so there's two sets.
The conflict that actually got Zill into the party.
Yep, exactly. It's a little bit more once the official campaign comes out from it. The Eclaas Eeas version was very much the abridged version of the stuff that happened in the Great
I like
Peninsula.
bridges.
Yeah, so, make sure to go check that out when it does launch on Monday. So it's going to be Monday at 12 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, St. Patrick's Day on I guess coming up here within a couple of days. So that's very exciting. And this is something that we poured our heart and time into at Fantasy Forge Studios. So we would love to see any support, and most importantly, your prayers for the continued growth of Everlast and this world. Hopefully we can bring goodness and gameplay and Jesus to everybody out there. So thank you so much for all who have supported us so far in Fantasy Forge going forward. And now that we have kind of our official first product out for production, or at least out for Kickstarter for funding, we're very excited to be able to share this world of Everlast more so than just the streams, but you can actually have it tangibly in your hands in your own homes. So very excited for that. Thank you all so much. Dane, do you have anything else to add? Okay, cool. Dane posted the video link. You can watch it now, I guess, if you want, but you can watch it also later as we jump into a little bit of a recap of everything that has happened. Eclaas Eeas is now officially leaving Folden Rock. It has been a long time coming. What was it, like 4 or 5 days they've spent at Folden Rock? When in reality, it's been months. Probably since August, something like that, that they've been in Folden Rock. But honestly, it's very exciting. They have finally found Aldreg Montablair and the last keeper of the Sky Key, and are making their way eventually back down to Eischen Island at Flomberge, where with King Nalgora Cragheim and King Farron of the Feshen Fae, the other holders of the Flame Key and the Sea Key, to have a meeting of the keys to discern what is going to be happening now, and as kind of a united alliance and holder of these elemental pillars, which they have learned upon their adventures is kind of like the essence of creation here of the world of Everlast. They are going to determine what to do going forward as far as how they're going to go about protecting the seas and protecting their respective pillars and defeating any demonic threats that are potentially trying to overcome and overtake those things. But they have Aldreg Montablair, and in Folden Rock they went through a number of events just to find the guy, and they found him down in the lower cellars in a hidden cellar in the Gilded Mask Tavern, and they snuck him out last session. And so there was a large bard competition that was going on in the tavern, and with enough distraction and decent enough rolls, they were able to get both Kokoro, which is like his Glyphex creation assistant, and also Eldred Monteblair, including his Glyphex cannon and the parts he needs to be able to make the kind of the battery reactor for the ammunition for the Glyphex cannon, out onto the ship. Belbin has been absent for I guess it's really been only kind of like a day in game time, but he is back on the ship. The party did not leave without him, and so is Thordane too. And so it is the middle of the night, and it looks like a storm might be rolling in as the waves crash against the side of Alomnia's breath as they depart. It is definitely one of those evenings where there's not quite like an ill feeling out at sea, but it definitely, considering the events and like the liveliness of Folden Rock, it does feel a little bit lonely as you begin to set sail out onto the waters. Speaking of which, I'm going to turn it over to the company. Where is your next destination? Where are you planning on going?
To the next place.
Well,
The company all gathered onto Alomnia's breath.
Yuki, you want to go to Fashion Fae, don't you?
Fashion Fae is where Yuki wants to go. You guys all gathered upon Alomnia's breath and made your way down below deck. Most everybody in the crew is asleep at this point, as it's like midnight or like 1 a.m. in the morning. But around that time, you've been busy getting Aldreg Monteblair in his room ready for kind of the evening, and you're able to all meet together and kind of discuss potential destinations of where to go. Thordane is up on the deck of the ship, steering it into the night, as he is an elf and doesn't require much sleep, and so he is going to be the one that's steering the ship. So you guys decide on where you want to go, and we'll go there. And it's raining at this point, so it's a little bit of a drizzle. It's not like a super heavy rain, but it is stormy out in the distance on the waters. It might be a rough night.
Oh, fun.
Princess Mila, you would like to go see your father back in Fashion Fae, wouldn't you?
Princess Mila is asleep, so she is an elf,
Oh,
but
no.
chances are she's asleep at
Okay.
this point. So
Alright. Wow.
Can we wake Barnacle Bill up to see where he wants to go?
it's up to you.
Anyone opposed? All right, Belvin's going to knock on his door.
Oh my goodness.
So the way that the ship is
Wait,
set
we
up,
have all the keys now?
no. So all the keys. What do you mean?
Do we have all the keys now?
Does Aldrich have the key with him? The wind
Aldrich
key?
does have the key. It's around his neck. I think I pointed it out last session. He's got basically it's like on a chain around his neck. He has the sky key.
Oh, I missed
Sick.
that one.
Mhm.
Why? Then I guess we don't need to go to Sky Spire Island.
We did promise to help save his family, so we do have to at some
Oh.
point.
Fine.
I guess Aldreg could be in this conversation. Chances are he is still up. So if you would like to include him in this, you can. But Belbin has made his way. So the way that Alomnia, so a quick review of like the way that Alomnia's breath is set up. And so it's a 3-deck ship. And so I guess technically 4 decks, like 3.5. You got like the perch where the steering wheel is. You've got like the main deck of the ship, and then below deck you have kind of the central galley that's there. And so at the very front end of the ship you have the kitchen and kind of little dining hall, and then you have rooms. I believe there's 8 rooms in this on either side. They're pretty small rooms, and they're taken up by you guys, and then 2 of the guests, or 3 of the guests that you have. 3? 2. Yeah, which is Aldreg and Kokoro. They share one room, and then Nalathir is in another room. And then down below deck, there is a it's basically like cargo hold, but also like a bunch of like hammocks and stuff that are like hanging all over the place. And so just like general crew quarters that everybody else sleeps in down there. So in order to wake up Barnacle Bill, all you have to do is just go down below deck and find him and wake him up, essentially.
That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna find
Great.
his.
So I will say this, for now, probably nobody has had much conversation with you, Belbin, since you've been back. You've been on the ship, but you haven't been able to really meet up with the party yet, other than just like Barnacle Bill, where does he want to go? And so you make your way down below to the bottom deck, and as you kind of wander your way through, you can hear like the creaking, and like it's pretty dark. There's a small lantern that is lit at the far end. This is the area where Bree sleeps. She kind of keeps a light on just to kind of make things a little bit dim and not completely pitch black down here. But Barnacle Bill is kind of off on like the right side of the ship in one of the upper hammocks that are hanging there. And so you approach him.
Yeah. And I will start by trying to shake his hammock, see if that'll wake him up. And I'll whisper, Barnacle Bill, we need to have a conversation upstairs. I need you to be a part of this.
Make a influence skill check for me.
How much does he know about our mission? How much have we told this guy?
I don't know, but he's the sailor of the seas. I'm sorry, what kind of a check was that?
Influence.
Influence 12.
12. He wakes up and he's just like, "Hey, what's that? What's that?" And he stands and he like immediately sits up, which those who've been in a hammock that's kind of difficult to do. But he immediately gets up and looks around and he sees Belbin and he's like, "What in tarnation? What time must it be?" And he looks to you, and he doesn't look grouchy per se, but he looks very confused.
I'm glad he wakes up like this and not like groggy or anything like that. What does he want to know? What time it is?
Yeah.
Right now it's
1 a.m.
1 a.m.
He looks at you and he says, "Can't it wait till the morning? I need to get myself some shut-eye. I've got some training to do in the morning."
Do you want to know where we're going? Or do you want to have a say?
A say in where we're going? Nobody's ever asked me that question before. What about the captain? Does he have any plans?
No, he's got no plans.
Count on me. And he goes and he grabs a hat and he puts it on, and he hears that it's raining outside, and so he goes and he has like this giant fisherman's coat that he puts on. He puts on these boots and he follows you up to the upper deck.
Fantastic. Now we can have the conversation.
Now you can have the conversation. Belbin arrives on scene. So it's Yuki, Zill, Luxalia, Thordane. Belbin arrives on the scene with Barnacle Bill in tow. Thank you. I have to say, as he approaches, thank you for trusting me to be able to help make such great decisions.
Consider it a promotion.
Does that come with a pay raise?
No. Just power.
He thinks for a moment. He strokes his long, scraggly beard, and he says, "I've gotten a lot of power recently. A Helix has a lot to learn. I like it." And so he's ready to...
Oh, my God. What are you doing to this poor old man, Belvin?
Poor old man. He's the best person on this ship. I love him.
Who are you calling old? I think me and Belbin are pretty close to the same age.
Amen, Zill. What do you have to say about that?
Everyone looks old to me.
His statement stands.
And so Thordane, as he continues sailing, essentially he's sailing kind of in like a south, like easterly direction. He says, "Looks like a storm's going to be coming at any point during the night here. I think we better make our decision. If we're going to make a decision, make it quick." And he pulls out what looks to be a map of kind of like his own like creation, and he says, "Go down to the captain's galley. I'll make sure to meet you down there. Barnacle Bill, if you can man the helm." And Barnacle Bill looks confused.
Oh, no.
Don't I get a say in something?
Manning the helm's very important. What happens if no one mans the helm?
So much responsibility. Yeah, Captain. As he goes and he takes the takes the wheel, and he's like, "I'll keep sailing us straight until you tell me any different." And he just takes it, and you guys make your way down to the captain's quarters, to where there is he pulls out his map and puts it on the table. This is a map that Thordane's been using for quite some time, and so it's quite scribbled, but it is very well detailed and mapped out. But as the group of you look at it together, there are many options. there are many options to potentially pose and where to go. You have the last key, basically keeper of the keys. And so you could just head straight down to Aishan Island. That is one option. And head to Flomberge and try to get this meeting underway. You do remember that there was a conversation that you had a few sessions ago, but it was like when you first met Princess Mila back in not first met her, but found her in the Regal Peacock. She mentioned that if you were to go anywhere else, she would probably need to talk to her father about that. But chances are you'll probably meet King Farrand down at Aishan Island if you want, so you can stop by Feshin Fey. You can do any of that. You can head down to Aishan Island. And another thing that was brought up by Aldreg Monteplair was potentially going to Skyspire Island, as his family is held captive by the dread pirate Jackman Knox.
Jackman, no.
Down there too. And so there's a few options to be able to do. And so if we look on our map, here, I'll just go ahead and place kind of some options. So where Belbin is, that's Skyspire Island. Takai Town is where Luxalia is. Flomberge is, he's the captain, so he's sailing. Feshin Fey is going to be where Zil is, and then Flomberge is here where Yuki is. Also, there's a potential adage where if you guys want to try to kind of make some more discoveries here in the Inland Strait, you can do so, kind of do some sailing around and finding some stuff. That's also a potential thing to happen. There will be like encounter rolls and stuff on the table, so there is a potential of things coming up, and it's up to you to decide whether you want to visit or whatnot. You guys are controlling the ship, so you're honestly in complete control of where it's going. So yeah, that's all I've got.
Just don't make me roll. Let's not fight a sail.
And the longer we take to make this decision, the longer Barnacle Bill is steering us. So
Thorday says, "That's a very astute point, Belbin." As he strokes his bold face.
I think Feshin Fey would be a good place to start.
We are welcome at Feshin Fey, after all. It seems that we have made a decent impact at the elves that are there.
Don't you guys remember how many rules they had there about proper conduct?
Yeah.
I really want to just go to Skyspire Island. How long can the Monteblairs hold out? You know? Think about the family. Aldreg's family.
Melvin, when have you ever been worried about that?
Truth be told, I'm not. I just really want to go to Skyspire Island.
As that was happening, Thordain was going to reach over to give you a pat on the shoulder, and he begins to say, "I think you've turned over a new..." And then you say that, and he's just like, he withdraws his hand. There is lots of trouble to be had at Skyspire Island.
Trouble is my middle name.
Teapot of Madness, Waffle House, trouble. I like it.
Man of many names.
I didn't say that. Belbin did.
A man of many names.
I have had some trouble in the past, but I wouldn't say it's my middle name. I don't even have a last name.
But you've got many names.
How can I have a middle name if I don't have a last name?
You do have a last name, Zil. It is just forgotten to time.
Yeah. And me.
And you. Being an orphan must be tough.
Fashion Fey might be a good idea. Because Fashion Fey is where I'm at, right?
Fashion Fey is, yeah, where Zil is. So.
It's close to where we are. Maybe King
Farrand.
Yeah, King Farrand. Maybe he might have some insight into next moves and yeah.
Potentially. That is an astute observation as he examines the map, and he says, "We do have to visit all of these places at some point eventually. Probably not Takai Town, but Takai Town's always a good fun. I think we deserve a vacation.
I would go back to the Ocean. The onsen.
The onsen was top-notch. I think Belbin really enjoyed it.
My favorite.
My least favorite part was the monkeys.
Actually, I would say I liked Folden Rock. Not many places have bowling alleys.
I've never even heard of bowling until we came to Fulton Rock.
That's where we
Well-
just left, Belbin.
All I'm saying is if I have to be stranded somewhere, might be going out to hang out with my little cult friends that we beat up, and then maybe get some frames in, get some strikes, you know.
Yeah. Fashion Face sounds nice.
We also do have perhaps some news to be able to tell King Ferrand. Thevelia, you know, the lady that was possessed by the demon. She was from Feshenfey at one point. She was a wandering scholar that had gone missing. It would be probably good for King Ferrand to know where she had gone. She is in Feshen, or she is back in Fulden Rocks, after all.
Yes.
That might be a good plan.
And then Mila can go home. And she
I thought
won't
you
be in
liked her.
danger anymore.
We do put lots of people in danger, don't we?
We are quite good at that.
I
That's
say we
okay.
Kidnap her.
We're invincible. We have plot armor, he says as he chuckles to himself.
What is plot armor?
The plot of this story, as he looks around. The story that we are forging and creating ourselves.
Yes.
Zilla's just so lost and confused right now.
He leans in close and he says, "What is the typical greeting here in Everlast?"
Hello?
No. May Alomnia guide you. Alomnia is guiding everything that we do. We are
thought that was a
invincible.
goodbye.
And he stands up and he puffs out his chest very full of himself.
I've got too many scars to believe that one.
But we're alive now, aren't we? And he gives you kind of like a smile. He's like quite jolly. Like this is more jolly than the typical Thordain demeanor that you've seen. Definitely a weight has been lifted from him.
If Alumni is guiding us, should we just all go back to sleep and see where we end up in the morning?
Alomnia might be guiding us, but Barnacle Bill, I'm not so sure.
We tell him to go to bed too.
Just
Bad
leave us
idea.
out to wander. I could
Alright.
steer the ship for the rest of the evening. So are we headed to Feshenfey, or is that a consensus?
I think so.
To Fashion Face!
Belvin, do
Yeah.
you agree with this?
Yeah, Eldred's family's probably fine, right? No torture, nothing going on. They'll hold
Nothing
out
we can do about that. They are a whole ocean away.
for now. All right,
now.
let's go. We can go to Fashion Fair.
And with that, you all depart for the evening and make your way back to your rooms. Thordain takes his basically makes his way back up to the helm, and things are going. I'm gonna have, because Belbin, or not Belbin, Thordain is the one staying up. I'm gonna have him make a wisdom skill check for me.
Oh no.
That is a 12. He steers the ship into the night. Definitely he sails into some heavy rain, to which he dismisses Barnacle Bill to go down below deck, and he has this big captain's hat that he has on, and it's pretty much sheltering him mostly from the rain as the winds and waves begin to kick up. It's definitely a rocky night of sleep. I'm going to have each of you make mind survival checks for me.
Oh no.
Mind.
Hey, I wasted my only good roll. 18.
11.
Okay.
13.
Okay. And Yuki, if you're there, 14. Okay. You're all able to get a decent night of sleep. Belbin does struggle a little bit as he lays on his back in bed. He looks at the sword that is propped up against the wall, almost as if it is calling to him, wordlessly. But you eventually do drift off to sleep. And before you know it, you hear seagulls calling, and it is the morning. Probably around 8 a.m. by the time each of you are able to wake up. There is definitely busy work at foot around, as you could tell that there's a lot of excitement on the ship for some reason.
Is
What's
it
with all
stormy
the
or is it?
excitement?
It is not stormy. It seems
Okay.
that the rocking
That's
has
fast.
stopped, and it seems basically it was just a night event.
Okay.
What's all the hubbub?
You make your way back. You make your way up to the main deck, and you can see that definitely heavily at work. You can see Aldreg Monteblair has made his way up to the front of the ship and has begun drilling holes in the deck. Bree is yelling at him. It's like, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And she's like trying to like get him to move. But Kokoro is just holding out one arm to make it so she cannot pass. Just in any way, she pulls out Martha, and she has Martha in her hands, her whip, and is ready to strike. And Kokoro turns around and grabs her wrist and twists it. And so much so to where like Bree drops the whip.
Bree,
Martha.
Bree.
She looks to you and she says, "Finally, you're up. What is this? What is he doing to our ship?" As you can just see that like he has like this saw and he's like sawing away the floorboards at the front of the ship.
So, Bree, you remember that run-in with Azaledoom?
Yes. And?
Yeah, he can help that.
But we
Not
just
happen.
repaired this because of Azaledoom, and you can see where some of the floorboards have been freshly replaced from.
How effective is are our ballistas?
Pretty effective. We're alive now, aren't we?
What if we could basically have 1,000 of them in the space of one?
She looks to you just confused. Kokoro lets go of her and she relaxes. And
Why-
she just stares at you blankly.
Why is he putting it at the front of the ship and not the back?
What if we could pack the punch of 100 ballistas in one shot?
But still,
do
don't
you
we
think
want to
that's a
be?
good-
Don't we want to be running away from it, not towards it when we're shooting it?
That's a question for him. But doesn't that sound like a good idea?
She sighs and she says, "I feel like I have no control on this ship. I'm the bosun. I'm supposed to be keeping everyone in order." As she just walks away down below decks. You can tell she's just fed up with all of this. Aldreg Monteblair addressing Belbin's combat. He stands up, he wipes his hands clean, and he holds it out and he says, "Aldreg Monteblair, at your service."
Oh, we've been looking for you.
We found him.
You found me.
He
You're a
was
hard
in a
man to
dungeon the
find.
whole time, but a really nice one.
I'm a hard man to find. Well, when you are on the top of some of the most dangerous people in the world's list for finding, sometimes you have to disappear. But you found me somehow.
I know. Well, we're probably on the top of that list too.
Yuki, I think we only
So-
have one.
Birds of a feather. As he gets back to work and he kneels back down and continues to finish cutting out the small hole. You can see that there are a number of parts that have been laid out. You can see the Glyphex cannon itself, like the cannon head, is off to the side, but there looks to be some kind of like rods and stuff that he looks like he's about getting ready to mount essentially this sucker into the thing. So if you're going to address him in any way
Yeah.
about where to put this, now is the time.
Hey, Aldreg.
Yes,
I
Belvin.
know you're. Yeah. You're putting a hole in our ship.
I am.
Why?
Very astute
are you-
observation.
Why are you putting it there?
Why not? This gives you the best field of view for anything that we're going after.
Yeah. Well, okay. Do you know what we're going after? How much do you know?
Well, pirates, for one. This is a great way to be able to protect the ship, don't you think?
Hmm. Has anyone told you about the Azaledoom?
Oh, I know about the legend of Azaledoom.
Oh, it's not just a legend.
He's no legend.
Yeah. Poor choice of words there, buddy.
Is that
We-
true? And he basically sits back up and basically on his butt, and he like kind of reclines back against the side of the ship as he listens intently. Kokoro is basically just standing there stoically, looking at you, and she says she begins to start putting off descriptions of Azale Doom. Azale Doom is the spawn of the great sea demon Leviathan, and it begins to start going like against all of these things, and basically lists off the information about what's known about Azale Doom.
How many scars does our ship have from the Azale Doom encounter?
A lot. I mean, so if you remember when you got basically marooned on that one island, you pretty much were only to be able to repair with what extra resources you have, but also like the driftwood that was there too. And so like it's pretty, I'm not saying ramshackled because you had like skilled hands working on repairing the ship, but definitely you can tell where holes have been blasted in and the repairs have been done. It's not like a pretty uniform ship anymore.
I'm like, that one's him, that one's him, that one's him, that one's him, that one's him.
Intriguing.
Yeah, he's no legend.
Aldrich, all I'm trying to say is when we saw him, we were running from him the whole time.
I see.
I'm saying you might not be wanting to put it there, but you might want to be putting it back there.
But what if we need to shoot something that is ahead? What if we are chasing down Jackman Nobbs and his crew? It's difficult to shoot from the back of the ship, isn't it, without firing into our masts? Is this a defensive cannon or an offensive cannon? That is the real question.
It's a good question. Why not both? Do you have two?
You are hilarious, my friend. And he continues to basically measure the pole, like the circumference of like the little, or I guess the diameter, seeing if it fits or if he cut it out in the correct manner, and he cut it out perfectly.
A long time ago, I think before we started streaming, this ship had, didn't we install like a blacksmith forge, like a very, very basic one?
On the ship?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Or did we talk about doing it?
You talked about it. So like I spoke a little bit about the potential of the customizations of the ship. I think you guys agreed to install the kitchens, as that's obviously like an important thing at the front of the ship. But you have to be ported, and it takes time to make additions to the ship.
So we didn't add a blacksmith.
You didn't add a blacksmith forge, no.
Okay. Not Jackman. Gosh dang it. Aldrich, what kind of resources would it take to build a second?
Well, the parts here, and he goes through like all of like the Glyphix contraptions. It doesn't require just mere metal. Much of this metal has been scavenged from, well, parts lost to antiquity, we will say. It is powered by mana, and all we need is a good storm and let's just say a good conductor, some kind of pole, to be able to, and he points over, again laying on the side is the little reactor that he's created with the electric crystal inside, electric mana crystal. I could be able to create probably one charge per storm, or at least per lightning strike, to be able to use on this. Well, considering everything that we have here on the ship, I probably wouldn't be able to craft one, but if we were to do a little bit of...
Do you know the full extent of what we have on this ship?
Not exactly. All I know is what the captain told me that we have.
I've got some Damascus.
Ooh.
Got some steel. Would that help?
I think the steel could be able to help. Damascus, I think, would make it a little heavy for the ship. Unfortunately, this is a dense contraption. You know, as you've like feeling.
Wait. It can be heavier?
It could be much heavier. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
All right, so Aldrich, if we're following someone in the front, we're not going to lose them. If we're being followed...
Have you seen Jackman's ship? It's quite speedy at that.
Oh, So are we. We fled a Zaledoom. The legend as you called him.
Again,
But-
that is impressive.
All I'm saying is defense makes the best offense, you know?
He looks up to Luxalia. He looks up to Zil. He looks up to Yuki.
Defense wins championships.
Yeah, but I don't know if it makes the best offense.
Wins championships, though. Do you want to win
Do you
championships?
think?
I want to win crossing the ocean.
Do you think the materials to make a second one could be found in Fashion Fair?
Potentially, that would be a good place to be able to perhaps look around. But considering, and he thinks deeply about it, it would take a little bit of time for me to put something like that together. It took me a couple of months just to put this together, as he looks over to the cannon that was there. Basically, he spent the time in hiding down underneath, working on Kokoro and working on this cannon. So, these things take time, you must understand.
Yes. What if you had another set of skilled hands?
Oh, and you think anybody on the ship? I saw a man with a gray beard just climbing like a spider up there in the rafters. I don't think he could... Well, I don't know how reliable he is with his hands, but he very clearly is with his feet. It's like a monkey. There's another one that can't even use their legs. He points over to a Kalik, who's on the ship
Yeah, but
watching.
you should see Martha with her whip, though. We've got a crew of many talents.
I've met Martha. Thank you, Kokoro, by the way. And Kokoro responds, just doing my job. And he says,
I
good.
flip out one of my hand axes. What do you think? What do you think of this?
That looks like it could perhaps help chop a bigger hole.
No, the craftsmanship of it.
Let me look. As he puts down, basically, like, he has, like, these glasses that he has on, and then he has, like, little magnifiers on him. He puts down the magnifiers, and he takes a look at them and looks closely, and he says...
So that they're Draken-made Damascus hand axes.
I'm gonna have you make an influence skill check for me, Zil.
Ooh, I'm good at that. Oh, no. We're back! That one! Ah!
I know
7,
nothing
if
about
that means
this.
anything.
This is a weapon used for hand-to-hand combat. I'm more of the technological front. If you look at those ballistas, and he points to the 2 ballistas that Finn is in charge of taking care of, I think this, well, if we're boarded, I will leave up the protection of myself and the crew to you.
No, I want you to look at how they were made, though.
They look like they were made by a blacksmith. It's impressive. It's pretty. I don't see any welding lines on here, so you must have done a good job.
Would that kind of skill be helpful in building a second one of these?
Potentially.
Then consider me at your service.
Pleasure. I'll have Kokoro run through with you everything that I need when the time will arise.
Oh, excellent.
And with that, he looks back to Belbin and he says, would you like me to place this on the back? It seems that you are conflicted. We have one of you speaking about having this at the front and one of you at the back. We only have one for now.
Put it... Let's see.
He does already have the hole cut.
You son of a gun. Who let you cut a hole in our ship? Who are you?
I'm here to protect you. I'm here to improve the offensive capabilities of the ship, and apparently the defensive ones too.
Did you ask Tully about this?
Who's Tully?
He's the dude he repairs everything.
That's a pair of hands that I could use.
Everything. Well, you should have talked to him. Why would you just wake up and start
Nobody was
up
up as early as I was to introduce me to everybody. All I'm doing is I'm making sure that we are protected as much as possible on this ship.
Just put it in the front. We need to get Tully up here.
Zill
You
just
don't know what you're
takes
doing.
out his battle axe, just bangs it on the deck a couple times. Hey everyone! This is our guest! Listen to what he says!
Everybody
He's here
eventually
to help!
everybody eventually makes their way up to the deck, including Remy from cooking, and including Toli, I guess, as well. And they all kind of gather around, and introductions are made, and whatnot. As far as
Are we telling the crew that he is Aldreg Monteblair?
that's my question. So, how are you introducing Aldreg Monteblair to the crew? Do you trust your crew? Do you not trust your crew? What's the dealio?
I feel like Zill would be inclined to trust them.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Belvin trusts him.
Okay.
Belvin trusts him.
Well, that's two. That's 2 of 4 answers, so we'll go with that. As far as Yuki says sure too. So, as far as that goes, you guys introduce him as Aldreg Monteblair. How much of the plan do you want this crew? How much do you want the crew to know of the plan? As far as Nalathir knows, you guys are a cruise service, and Princess Mila probably knows a little bit more, obviously, being kind of in on like the whole like key story and like everything. But it's not her information to tell, so she probably hasn't divulged anything else. But as far as the crew, like they're just like a hired crew for the ship. How much do you want to explain?
I think Zill would be inclined to explain to them, hey, we're going to try to like take back an island from a dangerous pirate. Like your life is going to be on the line. You might as well know what you're getting into. Kind of type approach.
Okay.
But he talks to Yuki, Uxalia, Belbin first. Like he wants to tell the crew just at least the basic details of we're gonna go try to take back an island. We're probably gonna fight a Zaeldu on purpose.
Belvin wouldn't say that. He would just let them do their job. They know what comes with sailing, you know. There's dangers inherently.
This is a good conversation, I think, to have. So we'll say that this conversation is being made before like anything is told about kind of your quest and like with the crew. I mean, they've all experienced Azale-Doom. They've seen the dangers that come with like sailing and traversing the seas. Obviously, that was like a near death instance. But in the case of what you guys have experienced on Folden Rock, what you guys have faced, like how much of that does the crew know? Like how much of like your actual quest, that's like the ultimate goal? Obviously Belbin is just kind of like, well, they just go along, whatever happens they just got to do, which I mean that's definitely a very valid approach. Or you can just be clear and be like, this is like our goal, this is our plan, are you guys on board with it? It's totally up to you guys. I want to see some discussion about this.
Thoughts?
I think it sounds good.
Yuki agrees with Belbin.
Well, that's a first.
What? Yeah, I think Zill wants to be honest about the level of danger.
Okay.
Which doesn't necessitate specific objectives.
So
we are gonna be...
you're not telling them that like having Aldreg Monteblair is going to make it more dangerous, but just to be alert and that this is our guest, we're planning on transporting him here or there. Is that the plan?
Would they even know who Aldreg Monteblair is?
Probably. He, as far if you're a sailor, most likely you know, because if you remember, he used to be the like weapons guy on the ship, the Flortensia, before he retired.
Right.
And so like he was like on like a very famous ship as like the like weapons engineer essentially for that. So they would know if like he introduced himself to the rest of the crew.
So yeah, Zill's approach is thinking acknowledge the danger, at least the level of it, without necessarily revealing hey, we're trying to find all the keys and like bring them together. It's like we're doing dangerous things.
Okay. Perfect.
That
Zelvin's on
makes-
board with that. Yeah, we can just say we're sailing some rough seas.
Danger is
Literally and
Belvin's middle name.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not that we're gonna run into these. Like, no, we are actually actively seeking these rough seas out.
Little did they know they've been in a heightened sense of danger since I've been around.
They're well aware.
Makes sense.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So as you get together and tell the crew who this individual is and your general purpose of, I guess, your next destination, which is Fesh and Fey, and then the transporting of this individual, that's all they need to know. So that's all they get to know. And so they all introduce themselves. He introduces himself back. He basically says, this is essentially what he says. He's like, as long as I'm here on the ship, I am going to be helping with the defense of this ship. I will help with this, and he points to the cannon as he's continuously working while this introduction is happening. This is going to help us in cases I've heard that you fought a terrible sea beast, but this is going to help you in your protection, or at least survival of that. And so I'm here to be able to help with that. And he says, who here is the weapons master on board? And Finn raises his hand, and he says, I will be working extra close with you. I think there's improvements that I could be making to these ballistas, as he basically just looks at them and examines it. Finn knows exactly who this guy is, and so he accepts it graciously, the help of that. And he says, great, if there's no longer any questions for me, I'm going to continue to do what I got to do. I have to be able to install this. And he looks
What
back.
about what about Balthazar? What does he say about the cannon? Balthazar?
Yeah, the was it? He's the first.
He's an
mate?
ex-pirate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first
he's an
mate.
ex-pirate.
Do you want to?
Where would you put this
figure out
thing?
where would he put it? Okay, so Belbin,
Yeah.
you have this conversation kind of like while this introduction's happening on the side with Balthazar.
Okay.
He's like, "Aye, Belbin, what is your concern?"
I want to put whatever that thing is back there. He wants to put it up there so that we can shoot his friend's little ship down. And I want to put it back there so when we see a Zaildum again and we're running, we can shoot it and kill it. Where would you put it?
I'm gonna have you make an influence skill check for me, Belbin.
Influence. Yikes. Not feeling it. That's for sure. Influence. Sorry, I'm looking for it. Where?
It's under charm skill, or charisma skill.
4.
He looks to you and he says,
Sorry,
Ah.
5.
"The chances of running into an old Azaildum is probably very low at this point. This is a large ocean and a large sea. It just so happened to be quite unlucky, I would say." As he kind of gives you like a wink, he says, "Being able to use this for offensive capability is perhaps what's best."
You're so naive. All right. Aldrich, put it in the front. We'll regret it. Mark my words. But golly, you
Just
guys
till
are
we
so
build the
dense.
second one.
Yeah, just a few months. 3 years later, out of game time.
The Lomnius
When
breath
it's
is sailing
done.
without Eclaas, and it has these two cannons. It's good. At least it's protected from a Zaildum at that point. And Finn actually says, "So, Sir Aldreg, when are we going to be able to test the capabilities of this cannon? I'm quite curious to see what it can do." And Aldreg, he looks to this guy and says, yes, we need a nice, violent storm." And he picks up like his little like recharge battery thing, and he's like, "I need a place to be able to install this, perhaps." And he looks to like Thordain, "In the captain's office. I'm gonna need to cut another hole up on top of the ship here, on top of your room, in order to have a large pull to grab, well, at least to conduct the electricity to put it and recharge this mana crystal. From there, I can create ammunition for it." Thordain looks and says, "Make sure it's watertight. I don't want to be dripped on while I'm sleeping." We're airtight. And Aldreg says, I will do my best. And with that, he says, there's someone named Tully on board. Is that correct? And Tully grouchily makes his way forward, and he's like, Oi, that's me. And Aldreg says, an Earthshea. It's been quite some time since I've seen your kind at work. And he looks, and he gives him like a deep smile, and Tully just is like grouchy, just kind of looking. He says, I would assume that you would have tar on board. We can use that to seal up any cracks that have been made from my cutting. And Tully says, he nods and he says, Oi, just don't ask me to do too much, okay? And he smiles and he says, Don't worry, I have Kokoro as a good assistant here. I only need you if I can call upon you. Can I trust in you? And Tully looks to the rest of the crew, including you guys, and he says, Do I have a choice?
No, Tully, you need to do this. Keep an eye on him.
He nods and he says, Aye, I'll do just that. And he goes down and he grabs a bucket of tar with like a little paintbrush as well to kind of shore things up. But yeah, he goes over and he kind of explains a little bit to whoever wants to listen, generally speaking, how this cannon works. And so there is this little compartment that basically slides out the back, and the little charging kind of station material has like a little slot too that you can pull in and out, and it has like this little kind of core. It's like a smaller kind of like a mana crystal core, and essentially when you can like charge it and slide it out of like the mechanism to charge it and slide it in, and then what basically you just use the mana in and out. And so it's like actually quite small and very wieldy. It's not like you have to like reload a ballista. It's literally just a matter of just like click it in, point, aim, and shoot. There's like these small triggers on the side as well, and it's a swivel cannon, and so it can go, technically it can go 360 degrees as far as that goes. But as far as damage that it can do, I can go ahead and share that with you as well.
Ooh, damage numbers.
So it does electric siege damage, is what it does. And as far as damage goes, it does 6d16 damage of electric damage.
Oh, dear.
So that's one charge of it. And so currently right now you would have to recharge after one shot. So it's kind of like a one-shot type thing. But as long as you have somebody skilled on there and you don't miss, it's going to do a lot of damage and blow holes and pretty much anything that will... And it releases basically this big ball of like electric energy. Just it like launches it out. So Glyphex cannons are cool. And so he kind of describes that and all that.
Well, shoot.
Yep. And with that being, the course is set and you guys continue sailing for the day. Is there anything between basically like the day and a half between your current adventure like on the seas and landing in Fulden Rock? Is there any NPCs? Well, not Fulden Rock, Feshenfey. Is there any people you want to talk to? Anything like that before you do officially arrive back at Feshenfey?
I'll be journaling for my penance.
Okay, sounds good.
I will also be working on my penance.
Okay. Belbin, is there any one that you want to talk to? Is there anything that you specifically want to do? And Dane, you think about it too while Tully's a lazy butt. Maybe.
Well, at least we don't pay him much, so we can afford him to be lazy. Does Belbin get the feeling that his time with Princess Mila is coming to an end?
Potentially. I mean, there's a potential that she would leave the crew upon return to Feshenfey. I mean, it's not guaranteed. I mean, you can always have like a conversation with King Farron about like what to do next. She's obviously survived whatever encounters that you have, so you guys can take care of her. That's been proven to a degree. So,
yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Belbin will just probably drink at the bar, like that night. And if Princess Mila's there, then great. Don't we have something downstairs? Like,
yeah, there's like a dining hall essentially.
Yeah.
So Yeah, you could absolutely do there. There's definitely kegs of ale and that kind of stuff. The nice thing about Fold and Rock is you're able to restock pretty much everything that you possibly want there, as it's kind of like literally like the main trade hub between the two parts of the continent. And so, yeah, you were able to restock a decent amount on like liquors and foods and like that kind of stuff. So at least for the foreseeable future, you can do what you can to restock. Dane said in the meantime he wants to do something. Give an apology note that she wrote Anna Guardian Historia. So we'll jump to that. So as Belbin, you make your way down into the main dining hall and you're having a drink. You're kind of propped up in the corner of the room with a nice little keg. And you have kind of like a keg to yourself, like on the side in your little like tankard, and you're just like sipping it as you're just kind of watching grazing, eating, and people come in and out eating during the day. You do so, and as you do, you notice that actually Yuki wanders in. She's one of the last people of the day to do so, to wander into this area. But as she does, she sits down next to you, and she has like a few things like in kind of like her adventures pouch with her, and she looks and she says, "How you doing, Belbin?"
I'm doing okay.
Okay. And she thinks hard about that, and she says, "How was your time in Folden Rock?" As she kind of like is like, you could tell she's like dancing around the subject of like trying to bring up something.
The best part was the bowling. Never bowled a 300 before.
It sure
The
beats
worst
getting bit
part-
by a giant crow, doesn't it?
Yeah, that'd be one of the worst parts. That and I don't know. There are lots of things at Folden Rock. The church burning, that was pretty bad. That was a low point, probably. I don't know. Highs and lows.
She nods and she says, "Lately I've been feeling really bad about how I've treated you, Belbin. It's not so much, I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the party, the rest of the crew or anything, but I know you've dealt with stuff a lot in the past. I mean, I know your experience with Shada back in the day when we were in Helix, but I also didn't really quite... I just assumed that you were always strong. Not that you're not." And she's like, again, kind of dancing around like this subject. It's like, not that you're not strong or anything, but I think I've treated you unfairly. And she takes out what looks to be a letter that she has written, and she gives it to you. It is sticking out the top of a book, and the book is a copy of the Guardian Historia, actually. And she says, "Please accept this as an apology for not just mistreating you and not trusting you completely, and most importantly, when we assaulted you back on Terabay Island. I know that I just want you to know that like what we're doing is very important, and I did not consider your feelings when we took the key back from you."
Thanks for apologizing. I think it'll take me a little while to get over it still, but the key was mine. But I can forgive it because now I've got a new piece of hardware that can replace it.
You tap is, I'm assuming, the sword that is hooked to your hip. And she looks to you and she says, "Well, I'll do everything that I can, Belbin, to help to restore that relationship and restore that trust, because I do value you as a friend. I do value you as a crewmate, and I'm going to be needing to put all of my trust in you in the fights to come. I don't want there to be any hard feelings between us.
Yeah, let's drink together.
She smiles and she takes basically a tankard off the counter and she fills from the keg. And she sips it and she says, "To new beginnings," as she goes to clink your glass. As she does so, kind of like this little bit of frost from like her like pewter tankard transfers over to you, so it kind of chills your cup a little bit. But you drink together and she says, "I just want you to know that I don't know what has happened exactly in your past, what has brought you to the point of where you are, but amongst us, you're with friends, and I want you to know that we value you. We genuinely care about what you have to think, what you have to say, and what you provide to the party. I'm happy to have met you, Belbin. I'm happy to have been in a situation where I can rely on you when death is on the line. Yes, you do provide a lot of excitement for the company and a lot of excitement for the crew. But I also want you to know that we genuinely care about you. I genuinely care about you. And I just don't want to see you die by doing something stupid. And if you did die, there would be people that would care. There would be people that would miss you. You're in this company, you're no longer alone, and I just want you to know that you don't have to be alone anymore. You don't have to drive us away."
Before the assault, I was starting to feel that way. I felt like you guys were becoming the family that I never really had. I was able to trust you guys. Definitely grew in love for you guys more than I thought. But then that happened, and now it's going to take a long time.
She nods and she says, "I understand. I think we need to be better with communication from here on out. I know maybe you're not one completely for talking, but I want to, from here on out, be able to explain why we do the things that we do. And it's not because we dislike you. Maybe back then, maybe we didn't trust you. I don't know. But all I know now is I want to mend this relationship, this fissure that we have created in this adventure. I noticed that you've been different since that experience, and I feel like we could have handled that much better than we did." And you can see that she is eyeing your sword, and she says, "And about that sword, what do you know about it?"
I'll put my hand on the sword, like, not to protect it necessarily, but to stroke it. I don't know, feel the Gladys, the presence.
I'm gonna have you make a faith survival check.
Goodness.
Faith survival check. That's not too bad. Don't worry, Zell. Faith.
I'm
15.
worried.
15.
You don't feel that presence that you had when you first got the sword. And she looks at you and she says, "Thordain told me about this. Do you remember when we got it back at Calvinish's tomb? All that time ago."
I do.
When Thordain grabbed hold of it, he mentioned something about a voice that Calvinish would talk to him through this sword, that her spirits never truly departed it. I'm just wondering, have you experienced the same thing?
At times, I don't know if it's necessarily a voice.
Okay. Well, what is it? I don't want to take it from you. I'm just concerned based off of what Thordain told me. He said that this voice would tell him to do things. And it changed Thordane for the better. I mean, you saw how jolly he was last night. He's a different elf from when we saw him previously to you gaining this sword. He doesn't seem to question the fact that you have it now, almost as if a burden has been lifted from him. I just wonder, is this a burden that you're willing to take, Belbin?
I wouldn't say it's a burden. It's enticing. I don't know how to describe it. It lures me in. I find myself drawn to it.
I mean, it is a legendary weapon, and it's got lots of power, and I can sense that there's a very strong sense of mana that pulses through this weapon. And I'm only curious just because I know that you have been struggling lately, at least from what I've observed, with, I don't know if it's forgiveness or you seem distant, and I just fear that this sword is going to lead you further down that path. And the last thing that I want is to lose you, Belbin. Back on Folden Rock, I found something. And she refers to the Guardian Historia, and she says, growing up, I never really had religion or anything like that in my life. I always knew that the people of Everlast, the Free Peoples, were good inherently, but I've seen lots of evil too. And as we've been adventuring, I've seen so much darkness in the hearts of people, and I myself had started to lose my way to a degree. I always did my best to try to make things light and happy, but I think I was just afraid of the darkness that exists within the souls of people, within the hearts of people. And when we came to Folden Rock, and the first time that we experienced the service at Folden Temple, but also the penance or the sacrifice that we made, I felt for the first time in my life the very real presence of Alomnia. And she looks you deep in the eyes and she says, I am no expert on the subject. I think Luxali is probably better off for that, but I genuinely believe, Belbin, that whatever you're going through, whatever you're feeling, it's not too late. The darkness that's inside of you, the darkness that's inside of me, we have to be willing to let it go at some point. Instead of clinging to it, we need to trust that Alomnia will do what is good with it. Ever since this adventure and we've met each other, I've seen how mana flows. The essence of Alomnia and his spirit. Every day is a miracle, and I've started to learn that. These powers that I have, these powers that I've suddenly undertaken, it is a miracle. But it's a miracle that I don't understand completely. And you have been gifted with these too. I've seen the way you fight. I've seen all that you've been able to accomplish, and I just don't want to see this power abused and gone to waste. I don't expect you to read this from cover to cover, but perhaps there's something in there that will be able to help you when it comes to, I don't know, words of advice that we, your friends, cannot give you. I'm still learning myself, and I don't know, I'm maybe just hoping that we could support each other and grow in this together. She takes a long sip of her glass and kind of sits there and looks at you kind of in silence.
I'll consider it. And Belbin will take the the book.
And the note that's in it. And she looks
Right.
to you and she smiles and she says, I hope to spend many long years with you, Belbin. And Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for helping us do something so important, to fight the good fight. I want you to know that you can trust me. I will be there. I'll be by your side. And if there is anything in my power that I can do to help lift, alleviate any burden, any darkness, I'm here for you. We're all here for you. You don't have to be alone. And you are loved. Truly. She gets
Thanks,
up
Yuki.
and she nods and she smiles and she says, I'm happy you're here, Pelpin, and it would be really hard to lose you. Just know that. And she leaves. And with that,
Belbin. Oh. Belbin will go back to his quarters for the night.
the day drags on, and the high seas are very much calling each and every one of you as you start to kind of get your sea legs again from the week that you spent at Folden Rock. But it's just one of those things where this is really kind of the first day of like full respite that you've all had, and you're all dealing with various things, wrestling with them kind of like on your own. And with that being the case, the day is drawn on. And as the day draws on, it becomes evening. And the crew is once again lively, once again happy. And everybody is doing what they can do to make sure that it's a comfortable trip. And with that, I'm going to actually have Thordain. He is going to make another natural 16
Nice.
skill check. And with that, the evening draws on. You will, at the pace that you're going, you will probably arrive at Fesh and Fae within around noon, 1 o'clock tomorrow, the next day.
Oh, great.
And with that being the case, Thordain is up at the wheel, and he looks out kind of into the vast blue ocean, dark blue ocean at this point, as sun begins to set. It is a peaceful night. I'm going to have everybody on board make faith survival checks for me.
Oh, no. Ooh. 21.
13 for Yuki, Belvin.
16, but not the natural kind.
All right, and Luxalia. 14 for. I have a hunch Cole fell asleep or something, or is at least muted or something. Nothing. Okay. With that being the case, I'm going to have everybody go ahead and heal 2 points of misery. Belbin can heal 3 points of misery.
Let's go.
Lucky dog.
Thordain looks out onto the horizon, and he sees that it is a peaceful journey, and everything that you have experienced on your adventures thus far, whether it's fighting earth elementals, whether it's destroying cultists, fighting demons, the undead, there is a light spirits and light hearts as the night draws on, and it is perfectly restful and perfectly peaceful. The next day arrives, and you can see Fesh and Fae, the crystal blue waters reflecting up onto the brilliant silver city that stands up over the bay. You make your way into the port and onto the docks, and Princess Mila, she looks with a bright, wide smile, and she says to you, home. Are you ready to go see my father? As the group of you gather.
Sure.
And with that, you don't even need to pass through anything, as everybody sees Princess Mila kind of leading the charge. You don't even have to go through like the checkpoints or anything. No one questions you. As Eclaas is brought up to the keep where King Farrand resides, that overlooks the entire bay. And as you enter, you see that King Farrand sees you. And he smiles and he stands up and he says, "So, I'm assuming that your trip was a success." And Princess Mila runs to him and gives him a large hug. And again, she's probably like a couple 100 years old or something. But like she looks like a child in this situation as she gives her father a hug. And she looks to him and smiles. I guess she's not that old. She's in her 50s. So she's still very young for an elf. And she smiles.
Perfect age for Belvin.
Perfect age for Belvin, that's right.
No, Belvin, no.
And she smiles, and and King Farrand looks out and says, "Thank you for taking care of my daughter." And he looks and he sees at the back 2 individuals which looked like it had been a long time since he had seen before. Aldreg Monteblair and Kokoro. And he smiles and he says, "So we're all set then." Aldreg Monteblair, he smiles and he nods and he says, "King Farrand, I do believe that we have a meeting to attend." And with that, he invites you all in to basically like his meeting room, and you guys share a grandiose meal about some of the best just fish food you've ever had in your entire life. And the servants all walk around and make sure your glasses are never empty. You get the most luxurious meal. And King Farrand, he says, "So tell me about your adventures in Folden Rock."
They were grand. We fought a cult. We fought some ghosts.
Fought a lady.
That somehow connected all of them.
He nods. Pretty vague details as he smiles.
All right, we met this. Well, we didn't really meet her. We met. We started fighting a woman named Favalia, and she was possessed by a demon, but we got the demon out.
By M&S.
Yes, thank you.
And
And yeah.
he nods along as he listens to the story of this demonic possession. And he says, "Thavalia, you said?" And he looks to Princess Mila, and she nods and she says, "Yes, father. Lady Thavalia had been taken over by the demon Emaneth, as Zil had pointed out, and if it weren't thanks to Eclaas, I think that something truly evil would be happening. The fact that they have survived the shipwreck, encounters with the Zaeldoom, with fighting cults and underground black market thieves, and it seems that everywhere that they go, they seem to leave it a little bit of a better place." And then she thinks back to like the burning of half the town of Folden Rock.
We try.
She says, "These are good people, Father, and I'm glad that we can be allies with them. I learned a lot on my journey with them, and I would like to..." And she hesitates for a moment. "I would like to at least see their adventures to an end. As far as the Great Peninsula or the Inland Strait is concerned, there's evil at foot. Demons she shakes her head and she says, "We need to take this seriously, Father. Eclaas cannot simply be the only bulwark against the darkness that there is. There is very, very evidently a shadow that has begun to take over the Haitian archipelago, the inland strait, and it seems to follow wherever the keepers of the keys go. And I do fear, Father, that darkness will come to Fesh and Fae if we do not see this out to the end." And King Farron, he leans back and he puts down like one of the fish bones that he was kind of chewing off of, and he looks to you and he says, "So that's it then. We've gathered all the keepers of the keys. As I had mentioned, I will keep my word. You've kept my daughter safe, and I have no reason to doubt you up until this point. You can absolutely," and he gives you a soft smile, "take her with you on whatever adventures you have. But do know that she has a duty to her people, and if her people need her and call upon her, she shall return. You understand that, don't you?" And Princess Mila, she also nods and she says, "Yes, Father." Good. I have a few things that I need to take care of here. I have a couple emissaries coming in tomorrow from Hightower. I have a few things I need to take care of, but in, let's say, 8 days' time, I shall meet you in Flomberge, and the meeting of the keys shall take place, granting you're there.
We plan to be there.
Good.
Might be our next stop. Might not.
Enjoy what Fesh and Fae has to offer. You are friends to the crown. You are friends to our people. Do behave yourselves, though. We're not used to seeing outsiders of the city. But enjoy it. And he, is there anything you guys want to talk to him about? Anything specifically about that? Oh, the materials for another cannon Dane brought up. And so, yes. I would say that probably as this concludes, Eldred Monteblair would go and have a conversation with King Farron. Is there anyone that wants to join him in that?
I do.
Belvin doesn't.
So, Belbin and I guess Luxalia and Yuki, what are your plans for your stay in Fashion Phase? So you basically have the remainder of the day before you have to depart to give you a little bit of buffer time just in case something happens to get back to Flomberge. Is there anything that you guys want to do? As I think the last thing we're going to do today is have this conversation with Zil, King Farron, and Eldred Monteblair. Perhaps. But is there anything that you guys want to do that we can roll for, do anything, any kind of shopping or anything like that that you guys want to undergo?
Belbin, it doesn't necessarily need to be role played, but he'd like to try to buy some potions, and then also looking at his hand wraps, see if he can find someone that can like mend them.
Perfect. Okay, so good. Potions, weapons, etc. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll some Fashion Fae loot tables, see what we've got here in Fashion Fae today. Belbin, I'm going to have you roll a D100 for me, which is basically just 2 D10s. And then, Dane, I'm going to have you do the same.
A 10.
Okay. With that, and an 84 for you. Okay. So, Belbin, as you go out onto the town, the one thing that you have come to know is potions and things like that are very difficult to find. You are able to find an herbalist where there are some healing herbs that you could potentially buy if that's something you are interested in.
Belbin's not really the herby type. Let me see.
I mean, it's healing.
Yeah. Let's see. Where are the healing herbs?
So those are going to be, if you go to your items, they're in the consumables section, and they are like, look towards like, they're like in the upper third of it. So right after the potions. And so you've got your simple healing herbs, which is 1d8 hit points, your reliable healing herbs 1d12 hit points, improved 1d16, and then your potent is 1d20 hit points. And it's like a single use just consumable that you have. As far as from the results that you have, there are 3 simple healing herbs that you're able to find, and 1 reliable healing herb. And so as far as price would go, that would total about I would say you could probably get it for about 24-ish EC if you want to purchase all of those.
All of them? Yeah, I'll do that. And you said it was 2 simple and 1 reliable?
3 simple, 1 reliable.
Okay. I'll add those, and 24 EC is gone.
And actually, yes, that is a good point. So if you, one of the nice things that Thordane has as a ranger, he has the ability to, if he specifically uses healing herbs, he gets the maximum healing out of them. That's a ranger feature that he has. And so you could basically be like, here, Thordane, use these on me, and I'll get maximum healing out of it, which basically turns them into kind of pseudo potions to a degree. So that's something that's cool that Thordane has, is kind of like his new stuff that you guys got today. So that's true. And then as far as your hand wraps, you look around and you find that there is a someone who mends clothing, and you make your way up to them in kind of the market, and you put your hand wraps down and ask if they can mend them. They look at it. How damaged are they?
If I remember right, they're a little under half. They got half there.
She said that she can repair them. It'll cost 10 EC, and she can repair 3 uses of them. So not completely, but she would be able to repair 3 uses of for 10 EC.
Okay.
Not uses, I guess, but durability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill won't do that. For 10 EC, that's a steal.
As far as Yuki is concerned, so Yuki actually walks with Princess Mila to another area of town. This is one that you guys together haven't really visited, but she's kind of showing Yuki around kind of like the kind of royal grounds where like she grew up and everything. And Yuki asks her, like, are there any things that perhaps like merchants and stuff that sell stuff here, or that maybe like sell things to like the royal family and whatnot? And she mentions that there are some things, but like literally specifically asks like, what are you looking for? And so as far as like weapons, potions, that kind of stuff, there aren't really any potions to be purchased. There are similar like healing herbs. In the case of that 84 that you got, there is going to be 2 potent healing herbs and 2 improved healing herbs for those. And then as far as accessories and weapons go, they pretty much have anything that you want, including specifically tridents that are there's 1 Rufidium trident, and everything else is going to be Damascus. That's there. And so total for what? Yeah, as far as the herbs that you can purchase, yeah, that's it total. And so, the total, like, as far as cost goes, would be, so for the 2 potent healing, that would be 32 plus, what was it, 2 improved healing, 24, 56 EC. She'll take that. Perfect. And if you're interested in the Rufidium trident, you can grab that one as well. Maybe. I mean, it's expensive. The Rufidium trident is going to bring you to 2,400 EC. Accessories? No, there's not really any accessories that at the moment that you can really find. Herbs are good then. Perfect. Let's go ahead and jump back to Zill. So, as Uldrag Monteblair says, he says, well, I would be happy, Zill, to have you. You are my hands to be able to help repair this, and I could use some help carrying some of the materials if we are able to find some. Or if you are able to find some, as you go to meet specifically with King Farron. And so you sit down and you have your conversation with him, and King Farron says, it's been a long time to see you, my friend. And Uldrag says, yes, I've been quite busy for some time, you know, keeper of the key business and whatnot, but between us, things have not been so good as of late. Back home, and King Farron, like, interestedly listens. Does this have something to do with you? Anything that concerns you? And he points to you, Zill.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty nifty piece of work you have brought on our ship, and I just thought I could help.
You see, King Farron, I have developed a new technology, one that harnesses the power of mana to be able to create weapons of protection and weapons of destruction. I have offered my services for what I can to Alamnia's Breath. They seem to be in, well, they attract danger, as we have mentioned. They've faced off, apparently, with Azaeldin. And,
Yes.
there are undead pirates about, and most importantly, Jackman Nobbs is out and about, and they are looking for me. There's a price on my head, and with them being the keepers of the Earth Key, I'm assuming theirs as well. So I'm doing what I can to be able to arm their ship, to be able to protect them with whatever comes forth, and so I'll be assisting them in helping to bolster their defenses on their ship. Which brings us to Glyphex Cannon, and Kokoro, she continues, she says, yes, Glyphex is technology that harnesses the power of electric mana. And she goes into her whole spiel about it. And King Farron, he listens and he says, sounds quite dangerous. But in your hands, I would say, as long as you teach them how to use it, I don't see an issue. What do you need from me? And he goes ahead and he puts out like an entire list of potential things. And one of the reasons why they have you, Zill, is you're going to have to fund this somehow, as far as like the parts and everything are concerned. And so he goes into kind of like the metals that he wants. He specifically needs small kind of like fragments of like electric mana crystals as well, for basically charges of these, so he can have multiple charges instead of just the one, and things like that for these cannons. And all in all, that is going to come to probably, I need to do my calculations. Is there anything that you want to ask King Farron while I'm doing this?
Just, has he heard any news about Azaeldin or Jackson Nobbs or Skyspire?
As far as the whole thing with like Azaeldin and Jackman Nobbs, he hasn't necessarily, at least the trouble hasn't come to Fesh and Fae. If you remember, like basically what all that the Fesh and Fae elves were concerned with at the time were the Krakora, and so with the Krakora and everything being kind of like right at their front door, that's what they were concerned with primarily. And so if you want to divulge to him any additional information about like potential things that he could potentially help with or things like that, like now is a good opportunity to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, I bring him up to speed on all the things going on with Flavalia, with Emeneth, which ties in Azaeldin and Jackson Nobbs.
He is made aware of the situation of what is at foot between the potential danger of all of basically everything that is happening within the sea, and he will make sure, as far as like his protection of Fesh and Fae and what he can do to keep the sea safe, he promises that he will do so for whatever is in his power. Okay, so in regards to the materials that you would need to create basically a new cannon and then like charges, like chargeable charges for it, at a discounted rate, you would have to pay 1,800 EC for all of the materials.
Holy crap.
So it's definitely worth the conversation with the crew to be able to think about.
Yes, because that's all of my money. I can't afford that. So I just kind of noted.
You can like note that, and then you guys can have the conversation together. You don't have to
But,
obviously pay for it all right now. It's just basically before you leave, you need to have the materials ready.
I do want to ask if as I'm paying attention, are there any of these parts that would be needed that could be made instead of like
That
buying
could
the
be
part?
made. A decent amount of them probably could be blacksmithed and made to the precise fittings. Probably I would say about a third of that price, potentially. You could probably cut off. So I would say somewhere around the ballpark of like 950 EC then.
Okay. So half. Wow.
No worries, Cole. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here.
Bye, Cole.
You guys have a good
See you,
night.
Cole.
Best of luck.
Yeah, so just kind of taking note of like what I could help make, what metal we would need to do that,
Okay.
and how much of it.
Okay. So probably if that is the case, you would need somewhere in the ballpark of like steel would probably be your primary use in this case.
Okay.
Probably would need somewhere in the ballpark of 8 ingots of steel to be able to create like all of like this between like all the small and kind of like big fittings and whatnot to be able to kind of cut that price down.
Well,
Especially
I have
with
7.
your you have 7. So if you
I have
purchase
7.
if you purchased one of those, where is the steel base? Steel ingot is 12 EC. So basically you would just have to spend an additional 12 EC, get that. And then you would be able, with the labor and everything, to be able to cut the total price down to 950 EC for the cannon.
Okay. So if you're willing to take on an assistant, I could at least do the things that are worthy of blacksmithing. I know it goes a little bit beyond from what you've shown me. But I'm willing to help where I can.
Well, we'll see what we can do. As far as the creation of this, as I had mentioned, it's going to take a little bit of extra time to be able to do so, but I think with some help we could potentially speed up the process. Zill, I'm going to have you in this moment make a wisdom skill check for me.
Where is that stat?
It's under mind, I think.
Yeah, wisdom 6.
6. There's going to be a lot of learning that needs to be had in order to help. So you could maybe cut down a little bit of the time that it takes, but not too much. It's still going to be a long, drawn-out process in order to help with this.
Okay.
Do you want to set the quartz in the gold ring? Yeah, you could absolutely do that. There's jewelers all throughout Fesh and Fae that you can do it, and the cost of that is going to be 8 EC in order to do that. Ding. So.
I'll just take note of what I'd be able to help with, what the total cost would be with/without, with partial.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of noting all of this to share with the rest of the crew.
Perfect. And by the time the evening comes and you all reconvene back at Alamnia's Breath with what you have to share and everything, you do so. And unless there's anything that you desperately want to talk to each other about right now, I think that's a good place to end our session for today.
Great.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. And with that, we're going to go ahead and come to a close for today. Thoughts on tonight's session? Things kind of going forward. It was a little bit of a lighter session, but yeah, just a real quick. We are going to have our next Everlast. Let me pull up my calendar. Before anybody does jump off on the 28th of March. And so the 29th for those in the West here. And then, yeah, so the end of the month is going to be that. Yeah, great. Is there anything else that anybody wants to share before we jump into thoughts on today? Starting with Max. I'll be right back. You talk, I can hear you.
Well, not much to share, but thoughts on today. I mean, as we've discussed several times, like Zill just is able to notice at least metallic craftsmanship. I don't know if you really understand woodworking or like textiles that well, but metallic makes sense to him on some level, even if he doesn't fully get it. So just as like Aldrich spends more time with us, like his respect of him is just growing, and it's like, wait, I can maybe learn to make a cannon. That's really cool. So just you're realizing, hey, there might be a learning curve. Maybe I can't actually be as helpful as I thought I can be, but definitely excited to be part of it.
Well, and also something to think about too is, other than like the Glyphex cannon, like the whole like thing that one of the reasons why Jackman Nobbs is after Eldred Monteblair is because he's also the creator of gunpowder as well. And so like actual cannons, like steel cannons, are like still like a thing. They're very heavy. They're not nearly as maneuverable, and they're much larger than I mean, you can only have so much weight on your ship because you have kind of a smaller ship as far as that goes, but you could even assist in making just like regular cannons and like gunpowder and like things like that. And so that's another thing that you have. But the Glyphex cannons definitely are a technological achievement. That's for sure.
Yeah, but there's definitely an interest of maybe a little more growth in building mechanical things rather than just static things. Like armor and weapons is really cool, and he's going to keep building it. But this is a chance to be like, wait, this is a mechanical genius.
Yeah.
If I could make better ballistas, if I could make better, I don't know, but
For sure.
yeah. So that's kind of an exciting
Prospect, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Dane, do you need to get it enchanted? If you want to enchant it, yes, you would have to go find someone to enchant it. And next session, keep that in mind, and we could maybe start off the session with having you try to find somebody to enchant it, because again, that's hidden behind a table of somebody who can. Yeah, for that. You can go ahead and type what your thoughts on today's session are in the chat, but with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump to Connor. Welcome back. It was great to have you back.
Yeah, no, it was good. I think, lighter session today, but obviously one of the, we'll start from the beginning. I think Belbin was definitely not feeling heard, whether it was with the cannon or where to go or whatever. So then when Yuki came to talk to him, I was shocked because I wasn't telling you guys this, but I was rolling to see how Belvin would respond like at each point. And there were times where if I had it my way, I wouldn't have been so open. But for some reason, Belvin didn't have a lot of great rolls today, but he had like 4 high rolls in a row. So it's one of the few times where Belvin hasn't listened to what I would have wanted to do. And it probably turned out better for him than had I actually done how I would have thought Belvin would react. So I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was interesting. That was, that just never seems to happen. So that was cool. But then, yeah, I think that kind of opens the door a little bit more for maybe how Belbin is feeling about the rest of the crew. Still, I don't know. Still too early to tell. But that definitely, I think, helped a lot.
Definitely. One of the things, too, that I know kind of, especially, like, the way kind of, like, the relationship with, like, Belbin and, like, the rest of, like, the party has kind of grown has been really interesting and kind of, like, a fun, like, journey to be able to see. And I know, like, you've been, like, rolling some things as far as, like, making decisions, and that's a kind of, like, an interesting mechanic to me as well, especially as you get deeper and deeper into, like, Vice. And, like, it's like you have, like, this desire maybe, like, somewhere deep down to, like, do the right thing, but, like, it becomes more and more difficult the more that, like, sin and, like, darkness weighs down on you, like. And so, like, the fact, like, rejecting, like, apologies and forgiveness, I think it's kind of, like, especially, like, because those were based and, like, hidden behind rules, like, maybe he wouldn't have seen it, but, like, this was maybe, like, Olamnia's way of, like, being, like, this is your time to be open, like, this is kind of, like, that miracle saving grace, that chance that can start to kind of work on Belbin, as it were. So, yeah.
Oh, for sure. And, like, yeah,
crazy.
like, one of the first rules I made was whether I was going to lie to Yuki about any of the voices I had been, like, hearing. And, yeah, Belbin told mostly the truth. But, yeah, no, it is very interesting how that kind of plays in. And I tried to even show that a little bit with reaching for the Gladys at one time to see what old Gladdy was telling me. But,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like the bad or the really good rule that you had there prevented that from happening, and so yeah, it's kind of weird seeing how that works, but yeah, it's good. But yeah, we're happy to have you back. I'm excited to see like Belbin and like what he brings to the adventure here going forward. It's very exciting. So
totally.
Heck yeah. Dane, what did you say? Really good. You said exactly what I wanted to with Belbin. Good. I know you briefly gave me like a description, and thank you for like telling me like in chat kind of the general things you wanted to talk about to be able to kind of help guide that conversation. I know it's always unfortunate because like I hate to like inject my own voice onto like the things that you guys are doing. Sometimes it's inevitable and you've got to do what you got to do, but I'm happy to hear that I said what you wanted to say to Belbin, so without making too many decisions. But yeah, no, that's it. That was good as well. So I'm happy to hear that. My thoughts on today's session. It's good. The beginning of a new adventure. It's always interesting when you have like new NPCs and kind of like crew members. And now that it's kind of like the adventure does continue, and there's going to be kind of like a couple traveling sessions probably. What you guys are going to do. So think about that. Like before the next couple of weeks, like prepare for potential encounters, prepare for things that you want to do, people you want to talk with on the crew, things you want to plan as a party. Things like that. Definitely come into next session with kind of some stuff in mind, and obviously the Discord is a good place to talk about that as well. It also helps me with like kind of like my planning of like the direction that you guys want to go, instead of like right before stream being like, all right guys, here's the plan, think of what you want to do like right on the spot. You guys can now think about kind of some things that you want to talk about. I know like Zill, you want to kind of help out with like some of kind of like the tinkering and getting that together, so I have that in mind. But going forward, any special interactions you want to have with NPCs, like this is a great, or NPCs or even like other party members, this is a great time to do that. Like I loved like that part of the session today where like Belbin and Yuki sat down together. Like I don't know how often that really does happen, where it's just like the players are just interacting with each other as opposed to NPCs interacting with NPCs. This is a great opportunity to be able to do that, is to have those conversations. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about this. I want to have this conversation with Luxali. I want to have this conversation with Thordain. I want to have this conversation with Belbin, whatever the case. Like one-on-one, like the sessions are the time to do that. And don't feel like you're taking away from everybody else's experience, because like it helps to build the relationship between companions, and it also kind of gives a little bit more unity, and also helping like the audience to like learn about like the inner goings of like you guys as well, without kind of like in-game people knowing. You don't always have to be doing everything together, if that makes sense. But yeah, so it's good. It's good. You said it better than I could have. I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. Couple of things before we do head off. We have a couple of sponsors, some ways that you can help support the channel, one of which being Coffee of the Realms, which is our Everlast-themed coffee. And then we have Fragrances of the Realms, which are our Everlast-themed candles. This one is specifically the Woodland Realm. It's great for Thordane, but it smells like a pine tree, which is really great. And then we have a bunch of different, 8 different coffee flavors, from dark roast, light roast, everything in between. Even a decaf coffee that we have. They're all with official art and stuff from Everlast. And then Dai Snacky. They're our sponsor. They're a Japanese sweets and luxury treats company. They have a number of Japanese snack goods, from their omakase box, which has more popular Japanese snacks, to their omakase looks box, which has more traditional Japanese snacks. If you do order from them, say that Fantasy Forge sent you a checkout. That's how we get the credit for it. Make our way towards our next free omakase box giveaway. We just gave out a free omakase box on the channel to one of our followers, which is awesome and super exciting. And then if you put your Twitch name, you will get kind of a higher chance, more tickets towards being able to win that free box when the stream does happen, that you have that. Also, the most important thing is, I'd mentioned on Monday, we have our official Kickstarter launch of the Everlast trading card game. It is literally right around the corner, and I'm freaking pumped for it. And hopefully you guys are too. As mentioned, there are 2 sets, the Heroes of the West and then the Raising of Helix. And so these are a good set and kind of like an evil set that take basically the alliances and whatnot that fight against each other during in that region of Everlast during the campaign. So if we look on the map, this is the region we're talking about, is here, kind of.
Let's go.
Eclaas is familiar with it, whether it's from Shiloh all the way over here to Umbertown over here to Helix to Kingsford and Nosregard and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of all over the freaking place. But yeah, and so it's a game that actually has a similar combat system to the role-playing game. And so you can collect cards, you can find your favorite characters, and also kind of learn a little bit of some of the combat mechanics of the actual physical tabletop RPG before it's released. And so, yeah, it's very exciting. So go check out our trailer. Again, I unfortunately did not have it posted here on my stream deck, so I can't show it, but it is on our YouTube page. So make sure you go check out the Kickstarter announcement, and then when the Kickstarter goes live, we will make sure on Discord and everything to make sure to let you know that it is live, so you can go support us in whatever way possible, and you can get the very first edition versions of these cards, which is super exciting. So it's also the cheapest that you'll ever be able to get it. And so the booster boxes are actually $10 off MSRP if you get them on the Kickstarter, and the decks, each of them are $5 off from what you get. And there's also free packs, promo cards. There are the signed hollow foil promo cards of Eclaas that you can get there. Also the Void and Wraith ones, hollow foil promos as well, and all kinds of good stuff. So there's a bunch of freebie goodies and whatnot that you can have. And then if you if we end up reaching our goal of the $10,000, then everybody in every tier unlocks 2 new promos, which are the Fate Weaver and Hubris Wraith of Malvish. And so, yeah, really cool. Those are hollow foil as well. And so, it's the only way that you'll be able to get them is through the Kickstarter. So, yeah, it'll be really cool. So make sure to check that out when it does happen. As mentioned, it'll be 12 a.m. on the 17th. Mountain Standard Time is when the Kickstarter will officially launch for the Everlast trading card game. So, and then we have definitely future plans for more sets to come out too. So it's not just a one and done thing. We are going to be making sets that populate the entirety of the conflicts and everything that happened within Everlast, the world of Everlast. And so there's a ton to look forward to. This is just step 1. And then also including on top of that, we're still working on the tabletop role-playing game as well for Everlast. So there's lots of great stuff for Fantasy Forge coming up here in the future, and your prayers and support are very, very helpful for that. Yeah.
It'll be awesome.
Coalforge is not this weekend, but it's next weekend, right? I think so, because you streamed the last weekend, right?
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Because I might be on a trip and getting back that evening. So
Perfect. Well, just let us know. Let Dane know
We'll see.
beforehand. But this week, I will just be continuing as far as streams go on Sunday, your guys' time, Monday, my time, some Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. And then we have Adventures in Middle-earth next week and some more Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. So it's gonna be a good time. But I will see you all then. Thank you to all of the players, as always, for making the time to be able to come and play and continue this adventure, the Adventures of Eclaas. Let's go ahead and close down everything in prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. O Jesus, my Savior and Redeemer, Son of the living God, behold, we kneel before you and offer you our reparation. We would make amends for all the blasphemies uttered against your holy name, for all the injuries done to you in the Blessed Sacrament, for all the irreverence shown towards your Immaculate Virgin Mother, for all the slanders spoken against your spouse, the Holy Catholic Church. O Jesus, who has said, if you ask the Father anything in my name, he will give it to you. We pray and beseech you for all our brethren who are in danger of sin. Shield them from every temptation to fall away from the true faith. Save those who are even now standing on the brink of the abyss. To all of them, give light and knowledge of the truth, courage and strength for the conflict with evil, perseverance in faith and active charity. For this do we pray, most merciful Jesus, in your name unto God the Father, with whom you live and reign in the unity of the Holy Spirit, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless you all. I'm praying for you. Pray for me. Pray for each other. And I will see you all on Monday for some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And we will see you all in 2 weeks for some more Everlast. It's going to be awesome. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bail Omnia guide you.